So don't look
Yeah.
down on those that seek extra help, because some of us need that extra help.
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do.
We do.
You're right about
Day to
that.
day. Yeah.
I like
Exactly.
people transparent enough to say it. I like the.
Exactly.
I'm glad that we have spaces where people can admit it, whether it be people. And I remember you saying that some our phone conversation we all had behind the scenes
Mhm.
yesterday about people not being able to necessarily say certain things, but when they get a pen in their hand and they're able to write something on a piece of paper, they're able to really and
Oh
truly
yeah.
express themselves and get it out. So I think the start to what we're doing,
Hmm.
and what we should be doing as a people is what we're doing now, which is
Yeah.
having avenues for people to check in, having avenues for people to stop by after work or before they go to work or whatever time you're doing your event, for people to stop by
Exactly.
and be able to get that release and really
Oh
let
yeah.
go of,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that's on them, because we don't have enough
You
of
Absolutely.
that.
And
you know what portrait is. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go
on
ahead.
the on the flip side, I always hold everybody accountable. If
Absolutely.
you're going through something, because I wanna eradicate the stigma that we as a people don't get help. It's not that
Right.
we. It's not that it. It's more in a higher percentage that those of us that do get help, they just want to put the lower percentage on the forefront, so we believe that none of us
Yes.
get help. You
Yeah.
see what I'm
Exactly.
Yes.
saying?
The
But
stats. Yeah. In the
you
stats.
have to,
Mm-hmm.
if you're
Absolutely.
going through something, it is also your responsibility to reach out to those that you know are going to shelter you, that are going
Yes.
to pour into you. That why would
Yeah.
why will you put yourself in a situation where it's not going to be someone pouring into you positive with positive energy? They're going to be pouring into you with negative energy. Why would
Hmm.
you make that phone call or go to that space when there are spaces out here? There's hotlines out here. There's so many resources out here for you to
Hmm.
use. So you have to have the responsibility on you too to reach out to those that you know will listen to you, regardless if
Very
you got
true.
to scream,
Yeah.
cry. As long as you're not doing something to harm yourself or others,
Hmm.
then you have to be responsible for reaching out.
Yeah.
That
You
part.
have to. And
That
feeling
part.
comfortable to do it, and feeling like it's okay to do it. That you don't know there's a problem um, until you realize it's a problem. So if it's not a problem
Ex-
for you, then you don't think you
Exactly.
got a problem.
Exactly.
But you mentioned before, when you're at the level of doing things where you're not functioning properly, you're not practicing self-care, you're not eating, you're not doing any of those things, or however it shows itself,
Hmm.
then that's when you need to go see somebody or seek some other intervention. And let me dare say this, and agree with me or not, it's not always family, and it's not always
Yeah.
a certain therapist. You got to find a
Hmm.
right fit with that too, for you to get. But seeking help and feeling like it's okay, you don't have those stigmas on you. And when I mentioned that sometimes us and certain people, you don't get that support, because it's like, okay, well, if you're unhappy, you go do something to make you happy. It don't work that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or you need to go and pray more. You're not praying more.
Hmm.
No, sometimes you need to get in there and you need to see somebody, and you
Hmm.
need to see a doctor. Period.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
See, but that's why.
you shouldn't be shamed for that. That's how I
Hmm.
feel.
See, but that's
You
why I
know?
like to give a little praise to people like him, because we're
Yeah.
creating those spaces, more spaces to say it's okay. So the more people that we can have to create their
Mm.
own space of any kind, you might have a sip and paint, you might have
Yeah.
a builder's class, it might be
Yeah.
like a boys and girls, because you know how I was in Campania Center, for instance, but there was a boys and
Yeah.
girls club. So you'll have like
Hmm.
programs that teach men how to tie their ties and how to be presentable, or older people how
Hmm.
to go for interviews and how to look the part and how to do those things. So I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we're in the right direction, especially in 2024, for me to keep hearing about more and more Black and brown people that have something going on, whether it's out there or not. But whether you got 10 views or 15 or 25 or 100, I just feel like, I like highlighting people like him that have a space that creates more,
I do
ability to speak your
too.
piece and feel like you
Yeah, I
can
do
talk.
too. I do
Yeah,
too. And it's a
Absolutely.
wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to see what you are doing and what your team is doing and how you have grown. I cannot express that enough. And I'm telling you, I came in personally during the rough time of my journey. And
Hmm.
to be able to do things for the first time and have people to talk to and have, and make my poetry better and have somebody even listen to that, meant the world to me. And that is what, you just don't know what you're doing for people,
Absolutely.
exactly.
and I'm just proud of it. I'm just so proud of it. I'm overwhelmed.
And I
I
got
Um,
really appreciate that.
yep. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just trying to make sure I jump in without jumping over anybody or cutting anybody off. I wanted to
It's
ask.
okay.
Now we obviously everything we have so many positive things that are coming out of a couple of your movements, but I want to
Yeah.
know whether it be what is one of those things that it could have been something negative someone was going through, but what is one of those one comments someone said to you, whether it was negative or positive, that really had an impact on what you're doing, whether it was a learning lesson, whether it was like a mistake you could have made. What is one of those questions or comments from someone that just really stood out to you, whether it was good or bad, doesn't matter
You
which one.
know, you know, when they say the stars align, so it's not even a statement, um, or a question. It's the fact that men still have to. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from my sisters, but it's the fact
Mhm.
that men still have to live in a world where vulnerability is not
Mm,
accepted.
mm,
Yeah.
Um,
mhm,
and I seen something on Instagram early. Was it? I think it was earlier, and it actually inspired me to write a piece. Um, but like we gotta hold everybody accountable. It's not.
Mm,
It's you'll
true.
if I have time to share it, you'll understand what I'm saying. In the piece itself, but like they hold they hold men accountable for abuse, for the things that we may do to our counterparts. But when is our counterparts going to start holding those that are
mhm.
like them accountable?
Exactly.
Because it's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
women that go through domestic abuse.
Very true.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So that's another way to divide. Yes, you got to have your own space to be able to release that. But where is the space for us to start having that hard conversation of like, okay, if a man raises his hand to a woman, then he
Mhm,
this or he that.
mhm.
When is it going to be the same thing when a woman raised their hand to a man?
Right. When can we
Exactly.
touch on all points? When
And it
we get to that point
happens.
where we actually
Yeah.
speak on everything around the situation, around
Exactly.
the problem, that part.
So it's
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, like
Absolutely.
I it just we have to be able to have them hard conversations, just like they have created the narrative. Oh, the black woman is the most hated and disrespected in America. Then they say no, it's an argument. No, it's the black man that's the most. How about it's both of us? Both of us was
Yes, it
enslaved.
is. Oh yeah.
Both
Absolutely.
of us got taken advantage of. Both of us was hung. Both of us have taken the same steps from our ancestors to right now. So why are we still divided in that conversation?
Yes.
Exactly.
And when
Exactly.
we're
And
not going to
So
ever
yeah.
true.
grow. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Queen. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is now we deep diving, and that's good. because when you become accountable, you deep dive. You deep dive for the answers. You question for the answers, because we find answers in questions and we ask questions that produce answers. So many times people don't ask questions. This is a general statement. However, with something like this, people don't want to be questioned because they know they will have to be accountable somewhere,
Yeah.
sometime. So it does take both. This is not, this is not, I could feel some people saying, this is not gender. We're not talking about gender. We're talking about accountability on
Yeah, it's
both
not gender
parts.
specific.
It's just
Yeah.
not
True.
gender specific, family. So you understand it's okay. It's because if we don't become accountable from both ends, it will it's already spiraling and of the sort. And it's also a part of most people are passing through specific mental health illnesses is because of instances like that. It's because of people who have not become accountable. I've heard stories have been shared with me since the outcome of this passageway, to hear about women who are physically abusive to their men. And because the stigma has been uh, hung over their head, if you hit a woman, it's going to be a problem. Of course, we're talking about treating each other as a human being. No man or woman should hit physically abusive or mentally abuse each other, verbally abuse each other, psychologically abuse each other. There's so many bells and whistles to that part.
Absolutely.
So yes, accountability is one of the keys to becoming mentally healthy, because yes, it's happened to all of us, and it's still amazingly and it's so sad that it's still affecting us, that behavior. So the bottom line is behavior. We change our behavior, we change the mindset, and we come together and we continue to battle against it. It can't be acceptable. Too many times it's acceptable. Being a baddie or whatever you call it is acceptable. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's and I have to say, no, it's not. Just
I didn't
because it's
expect you to say
trendy.
that. So
What? It's so many things linked to our how we behave. And once it's acceptable, then it's taken into our spirit, and then we act out on it. So when
Absolutely.
it becomes unacceptable, then you're able to train the mind, train the body, and train your spirit to not accept it and do something about it. Change the
Exactly.
policy of it. And that's where good mental health comes in. I'm just saying,
Exactly.
family.
Thank you, Miss Cheryl. I see Miss Cheryl made a comment. Don't want to cut you off, Queen. I just want to acknowledge people as soon as they come in. So I'm sorry if I'm not
Absolutely.
speaking on your
No,
comments as soon as they come up. But first
absolutely,
thing Miss
yes.
Cheryl said was, it doesn't make a man weak to admit that he's been abused. It happens so often because men are ashamed to come forward about it. Yes.
Absolutely,
You know,
yes.
because we all know you consider to be weaker, or you're looked at like, what's your problem if you can't
Right.
quote unquote control your woman or your wife or your house or
Right.
whatever. And it's so much that comes with that. The second thing she said was, so many men are mentally abused and are ashamed to talk about it. We need these conversations. And I think so too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
luckily the
And we
people
will
like
have more.
yes, luckily the people like the poet, people that we can he can hold events and we can get to them, and it's local, and we can reach those things. I would love to have some type of party that's kind of like a silent party where the whole room is quiet and everyone has earphones in, so it's like everyone's forced to listen to that one person that gets to speak, because we have too many spaces and times where people want to voice their opinion. Everybody is shouting for what the world is doing to them. Everybody wants to shout out and be heard, obviously, about what the world is doing to them. But at the same time, we're often interrupted because people's feelings and things that they had to deal with are put to the wayside for someone else's emotions. So I want some type of something, poet. I'm speaking to you. I want some type of something where we can. I wish I could, put a piece of tape over everybody's mouth when they enter, and only the speaker can speak, or something like that, so that people
I
can
mean,
really have the.
I've taken on. I'm the one that I believe that is meant to talk about these hard subjects. I'm one of the ones to talk about these hard subjects, because if we don't start the conversation, then it will never be an issue that is solved.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If men continue to feel like, oh, I'm this or that if I speak up,
Exactly.
we're not going to solve the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Miss Nicole said, "Call it one mic session." She gonna be look. You got people
Oh,
around you, your
all right
advisors,
now.
your team.
Oh
All
Look,
yes,
right
I don't
now.
know,
One
Miss
mic
Nicole.
session.
I like
They
speaking
already
stuff
Miss
for
got
Miss
Nicole
Nicole,
is
so you
doing it
never
right
know.
now.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
I
never
got
look.
that too.
Exactly.
Originator of the a part of the bloodline. Look, you got the first
The
say
thing
so.
is,
All
the
right
thing
now.
Miss
is,
Nicole right there.
All right, Miss
the,
Nicole. We appreciate that.
the thing
Absolutely.
That is
is that
wonderful. That
Yeah.
is
And
wonderful.
listen, men, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't
it's
hesitate.
it's not enough.
It's
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
That's
not
what the
enough.
problem is.
Yeah.
It's not enough for those to feel comfortable enough to say, you know what, I'm okay with being vulnerable.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I'm okay be only because it has been drilled in us. You can't
Yes.
cry. If you cry, you're a little girl. If
Yeah.
Hmm.
like no, that's like crying is part of a human experience. So
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
men and women are not different when it comes to emotions. We have to be able to release our emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
just that
Exactly.
simple.
Yeah.
Your masculinity is questioned consistently. You know,
Unfortunately, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
if you do something, you know, like you just said, your under the whole thing, your masculinity is questioned all the time.
Yeah.
If a woman is abusing you, it's not even considered abuse. It's like you just can't keep control.
You
You know,
just can't.
older folks
Yeah.
would say you henpecked. You know, you're
Exactly.
Yeah.
weak. You know, why you
Mm-hmm.
let her do that? You know,
Would y'all
all those type of things.
would y'all like
So,
to hear what I wrote?
Yeah.
Yes.
oh,
Definitely
absolutely.
would.
Hey,
Absolutely
Absolutely.
would.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
sir.
Let me make you solo
Yeah.
screen. Everybody mute their mics, please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Why they always act like abuse goes one way? Like feminine hands don't abuse masculinity. Like, mentally, physically, spiritually turn them down, financially making them feel like they don't have the right to wear the crown. Accountability does not arise when she has fire in her eyes and raises her hand to a man. Oh, he's a man. He must have done something to make her violent. Excuses. Sister lips becomes silent. Their eyes become judgmental. How can a man be part of the Me Too movement? Damn. A woman cannot be a pervert as long as she moves with covert actions, but the victim continues to be victimized because he's on the opposite side of the double X. Why? Is it okay for her to be the X that marks his spots? I mean, bruises. It's because he lied, he cheated, so he deserved the beating, but the excuses could never be on the other foot. Man, you better not raise your hand to hit that woman. You a sucker if you struck her. You a bitch is what you would be labeled as. I ask, when did accountability become so sexist? She's supposed to be teaching him about mathematics, but only interested in being hands-on sexual educator, I mean predator, making little boys become aliens to the world, and the world condemns the man for being so cold after a woman stole his innocence from his soul. Bold of you to continue to point out the discrepancies of man, but your sister gets a pass. This is a conversation that they don't want us to have because we live in a world where people turn a blind eye to the vulnerability of a man. How can we heal if we have to stand 10 toes down in our trauma? We can't. They tell us only little girls cry. Toughen up, be a man, and just get over it. Sometimes we listen to the voices right before we die by suicide. But y'all go ahead and keep on letting this ride. Paul.
Woo! Now, ladies
That
and
part.
gentlemen, that's how
Wow.
you do it.
Look, just like look, Miss Athea, I don't want to say your name wrong, but just like she said, woo, that's one of them joints.
Woo.
Look, that's
Hey,
one of
hey,
those.
Yeah, Trayvon, ladies and gentlemen, now that's how you
Yes,
do the thing. Right
one of them
there.
wants to make you. You just it hits where it needs to
You're
hit,
like,
and it just make you
woo.
do that face because
I love it. Thank you so
yeah,
much for sharing that with
you're right about
us.
that. Thank
All
you.
of us.
Absolutely. Yes.